Good morning, everybody. My name's Matt Pointon, and I work for the TUC-WMCA Skills Partnership. And welcome to this, the first of our new series of webinars. Now, because we're doing this on Crowdcast, because it's a larger group than normal, rather than on Zoom when we have smaller groups, the kind of bad thing about these webinars are a bit one way. So it's me talking at you, and I can't always gauge people's reactions because I can't see everybody. But keep writing in the chat. If you've got any questions, put them in there, because I'm going to be monitoring that chat, but also so is my comrade Yusuf, who you can't see, but he is here behind the scenes doing all the technical stuff. Now, before I start, we are recording this. A couple of people have asked for us to record it. They can't be with us today. If you have an issue with that, let me know, or at least put it in the chat and let Yusuf know. And if there's, with regards to the GDPR side of things, he's taking care of that. So there will be stuff appearing in the chat all about that. I'm looking in that chat, and we've got people from all over the country. Now, that's great, and I'm really pleased that we do have people from all over the country. However, what I will say that for some of you, the slight bad news is this is actually kind of being run by TUC in the Midlands, so there's going to be a little bit of a Midlands slant on it. But because it's about free online learning, basically, we can all get online, or I would hope we can. So, the main core of what I'm talking about today is available to absolutely everyone. But there's going to be a Midlands slant because I'm actually employed. I am employed by the TUC. I used to be in Unionlearn, so some people might recognise me from there. I certainly recognise some of the names from the Unionlearn days. But I now work for the TUC West Midlands Combined Authority Skills Partnership, and that's something that it's worth me mentioning at the beginning because it's the first of its kind. Many of you will be aware that the Unionlearn funding was all cut by central government last year. And that's been a real blow to union learning and member learning out there. But what the TUC has done is we've gone out, had chats with Metro mayors, and a lot of them are very interested. They like what we did. And the first one to actually sign up to paying for a projects officer, which is me, was the Mayor of Birmingham, which I think is really good. Well, the Mayor of the West Midlands Combined Authority. And so we are the first skills partnership in a combined authority between the unions and the local authority and local employers. And what we do is we sit there and we try and, promote union learning, work with our member unions in that area. So if you're in the West Midlands Combined Authority area, which is like Coventry, Black Country, Birmingham, you want me to come into your workplace, you want some support, just let me know. I mean, I've seen people in Birmingham Unison, hello, and also there's people from Wolverhampton earlier. Steve from Stoke-on-Trent, you're actually outside that area, but I am sitting in Stoke-on-Trent at the moment, so I wish I could come into wherever your workplace is, mate, because it's probably only down the road from me. But yeah, I'm sitting in Smallthorne in Stoke-on-Trent at the moment. And we also, I saw in the conversation, we had Steve Croak. Steve Croak is from CWU, and he is actually the chair of our new Midlands ULR Forum. I think it's the first one in the country, a regional ULR forum. He does an amazing job as our chair, and we are meeting again in January. So if you are from the Midlands, anywhere in the Midlands, Leicester, Lincoln, I did see someone from there earlier, Stoke, all the way down to Hereford and Worcester and all that area, and you want to be part of our Midlands ULR forum, let me know, and then I'll include you on the list and come along. We don't have a definite date set yet, but it will be in January, I think. Yes, I've got to have a chat with Steve about when we're doing that. But so yeah, please join in. We had a really good showing last time. We focused on mental health. We had speakers from Speak Up Mental Health and the Combined Authority, and CWU talked about their mental health interventions. It was good. So yeah, we're going to keep that going. Couple of other dates for you is this is only the first of many webinars. There's on the 13th of January, we've got one on boot camps and the level 3 entitlement. So if you're interested in that, come along. Details will be on Eventbrite, like how you signed up for this. And Jim, interested in the forum, great. Well, like I say, we've got your details. What we do is I'll go through all the names that said it's interested, and I'll contact you. And then also on the 15th of February, there is the Futurelearn conference. Although the government stopped the money, they didn't kill Futurelearn. Futurelearn still is going. We'll talk about that a bit later, because Yusuf, who is doing our tech stuff, as I said, he is the conference organizer. So we're going to have a conference. I think it's digital this year for obvious reasons, but that's going to be on the 15th of February. So make a date in your diary, because there should be some really good speakers and really nice activities, as there always are. Okay, now it's the challenging bit, and this is where I try and work the tech and share my screen. So let's have a go at this. Right, so we're going to be following a PowerPoint today, but I'm going to try and make it as interesting as possible. The problem is when we follow the PowerPoint, I don't know if I can actually see the chat. So if there is anything really important, if you could probably, that'd be great. What I will do though is at intervals I'll go back and go through the comments that people have written. Right, okay, let's try and share. Is that working? So Yusuf, can you tell me, can we see the PowerPoint?
All working, Matt.
Excellent, excellent. Right, so there we are. So what we're going to do is talk about free online learning. So what I'm talking about today is the stuff that is online. It's available to everybody, and you don't pay for it. Now, that said, some of the websites, if not most of them that I mentioned, have a pay for option. And what I will do is discuss what the difference between the free offer and the pay for offer is with them, because it's always different depending on the website. And I may occasionally mention other websites where you can pay for things, okay, if you're interested in certain fields. The other thing, of course, is this is not the only learning offer out there, and this is not the only free one. So I mentioned, I'm funded by the Combined Authority. They offer a lot of free courses, but the problem is the offer is different depending on where you are in the country. So, what is offered in the West Midlands is different to what is offered in, for example, Leeds City region or the Southwest region, or, of course, those parts of the country, which is most of the country that's not within a combined authority. So that's something to bear in mind. Don't look at this as the be all and end all. Don't look at this as all there is that's free, but do some research about what there is locally. So for example, in the West Midlands, they're offering courses like level 3 courses for people who don't have a level 3 qualification so far. They're offering free level 3 courses. Level 3 is kind of like the same level as the A levels. So if you've only got your GCSEs or an MVQ level 2 and nothing higher, then they're letting you study something higher for free. But again, that offer is uneven across the country. It depends which metro mayors see skills as a priority, and or if you have a metro mayor or not. So it's a bit confusing, but that's what we're dealing with. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through various platforms or websites, and the first one is this one. It's Khan Academy, and each one I'm going to deal with in the same way. So that the first page will be like this, where it talks just very briefly about the website. Then there's what's good about it with the thumbs up in green, and then there's the weaknesses with the thumbs down in red. And I'm going to go through each platform like that. Some I'll talk about more than others because I know, and I've used some of them more than others. But again, any questions, put them in there. And Yusuf, if there is anything that's really pressing, do butt in and stop my flow, and I'll try and address that question. So the Khan Academy is a non-profit educational platform created by Salman Khan, who is some kind of philanthropist. I think he's in America, and he's involved with the digital world. And he thought that people haven't got sufficient digital skills. They haven't got what they need to do well. So he created this website as a charitable thing to kind of teach people for free. It's good because it's free, and the website's a quality website. The weakness, the problem is or the strength is it focuses on certain areas. So if you have a look on there, what I've put, the courses are basic, they're interactive, they're very easy to use. I mean, it really is nice to navigate this one. And you can earn a variety of astronomically themed badges. So there's the planet badge or the asteroid badge or stuff like that. So it's quite fun with the kids. Very good on maths, science, and economics, which kind of makes sense where you think where Salman Khan himself is coming from. Those are his passions, right? And if you're starting at the basics, it's good, right? The bad side is it's weak on the arts and social sciences. So, I have to confess that I prefer the humanities. So I like a good history course or something about, geography or a language or something like that. Not as good on those. And I said it's really good with the basic stuff. What that means is it's not so hot with the advanced stuff. And the courses are not accredited. So what do I mean by that? Well, accredited is essentially where you get a certificate at the end that's worth something. Now, some of these websites, you can print off certificates at the end, but the vast majority of the free online learning is not accredited. The other thing that I should say when we're talking about accreditation is that some of these websites, they talk about levels, this is a level 1 course, or this is a beginner course, or intermediate, or a level 3 course, or something like that. And it can be a bit confusing because within the UK, we have this system of levels. So, I mentioned the level 3 entitlement before, which is about A level, yeah? And that's how hard a course is, yeah? So your level's about how hard it is. They don't take into account how long it is. So you can do a level 5 course, which is like the beginning of a degree, yeah? And that could be like a day long. So it means a day of hard study at that level, at that, level of difficulty. But it's not worth the same as a degree because it was only a day, whereas a degree is like 3 years, yeah? So, but those levels are really quite a nice guide. Level 2 means it's as hard as a GCSE course, not worth the same because it's shorter than a GCSE, most courses are. But the problem with these courses online is their level 1 or 2 or their beginner or intermediate don't necessarily marry in with the British levels because they're international. Khan Academy's American. So they either make up their own systems or use the systems from those countries of that. So I'm just saying a bit of warning that if you do, like a hairdressing course on level 1 on one of these websites, it doesn't mean it will correspond to a British level 1. Okay, so that's worth talking about. Okay, so that's Khan Academy. I'll be honest, I haven't used them that much because it's not really the areas I'm interested in, but I did do some math stuff with them, and I was impressed by how usable they were. And Khan Academy also nice that they have different logins for like teachers and for students. So if you're like a parent who's helping, you might log in a different way than the student, and it's tailored in different directions, which is good. Okay, that's Khan Academy. Again, any questions in the chat, which I can't see, but if there's anything really pressing, interrupt me now or forever hold your peace. Duolingo. So, want to learn a language? Then Duolingo might be the right site for you. Duolingo offers free online courses in 36 languages from Hindi to High Valerian, which is a Game of Thrones language, for those of you who are not aware. I mean, I guess, because Learn was promoting Duolingo for years, and I guess there's a lot of people on here who have Duolingo experience. If you do and you want to put about it in the chat, go ahead. I'm going to be honest with you. I first heard about this when I was working on one of our union learning projects, the ULearn project, which is, well, like all of them, sadly defunct now. But a lot of our members really, really liked it. I played around with it a bit, but didn't do much. And then when the lockdown started, I thought, right, I'm going to use this time wisely. And I decided to learn Spanish because I was doing a walk across Spain at the time, and I quite want to go to South America later. So about 2 years ago now, I started learning Spanish on Duolingo. And what's great about Duolingo, it uses a gaming concept. So you go up through levels, and like when you learn, every time you learn something, you get some points. And the more points you are, you can go up the league. And then like next week, you might get promoted if you've done really well. Or if you've not learned very much, you might be in the relegation area. For those of you who follow football, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. And go down the league. So, like, for example, last week I was, I'd done quite a lot of learning, but not enough. And I was looking to get relegated. So I went on a big spurt on the Saturday night to try and keep me up in the league. And it uses that concept to get people to learn more. You go on a streak, and a streak was a little flame icon, and that's like how many days have you studied in a row. And of course, if you miss a day, it bumps back down to 0, and you have to start again. So that encourages people to do a little bit every day. And that's important because it uses a principle, an education principle called spaced repetition, which those of you who've used the Ranks platform, which some of our member unions offer for free, I think Unite do, and PCS, I think they certainly did. I assume they still do. The idea behind Ranks and Duolingo and other learning platforms like this is that you learn far better if you do a little bit every day rather than you do a huge chunk and leave it, right? So it's quite different from classroom learning. You do 5 minutes of Duolingo or 10 minutes of Duolingo a day. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your laptop, on your tablet, whatever. I do mine mostly on my laptop because the problem with the phone one, you get hearts. When you make a mistake, you lose a heart, like you lose a life. And then when you've lost them all, you have to start the level from the beginning again, which to me is a bit of a pain. Although you can buy hearts, not with physical money, but with the points that you've earned. They have this currency called lingots, where you earn these kind of lingots for studying well, and then you can spend them on, like, protecting your streak or buying some more hearts and stuff. But very much like a game. And so, yeah, that's Duolingo. I've been doing Spanish, like I say, for 2 years now. And this summer just gone, I actually went to Spain, and it was great because for the first time in my life, I was having conversations in Spanish, and not just ordering stuff, but actually I was, it was during the European Championships. I was chatting to the barman about football and stuff and talking with locals as I was walking along. It was great. So it's really, and learning a language gives you so much confidence. It makes you feel really good about yourself. So I'm a convert to Duolingo. I'll be honest with you. What's good about it? I didn't mention this first one, that Duolingo, it tests your level. So some of us might have a bit of a language already, like I didn't with Spanish. But for example, at school I studied French. I failed it, but I studied it. So actually, I've got a bit of French vocabulary. So when I tried out their French course, I found that I wasn't starting at the very beginning. I started part way along. And then every so often you have a progress test. So on the Spanish course, there's basically 10 checkpoints, yeah? And I'm between checkpoint 6 and 7. So, and you every so often you do this test. To pass the checkpoint, it opens a little like door in a castle, and then you can go through to the next level, very much like a game. and and you can that's some kind of proof of your learning. I talked about the daily digest system and the level progressing as you go up, and it's great that you can use it on your phone. So that's nice about it. The bad things, if you like a certificate at the end, you're probably going to be disappointed because the course is just so long that actually very few people finish it, because it's so enormously long. I've been doing the Spanish one for 2 years now. I do quite a bit every day, and I'm, like I say, 6 out of 10 so far. So maybe one day I'll finish it, but it's not it's not accredited, so there's no proof at the end that you can speak the language like you would have, for example, with a GCSE French or something. But I mean, they do reckon it's about worth the same as studying a language at university for a year if you do the course. I mean, I think it's good. I think it's thorough, and because it repeats stuff so often, it really gets it in your head. I mean, there is another slight thumbs down for me. Is, of course, we all want to study that language that isn't on there. So yeah, they've got a huge selection. It was 30 odd, but they are adding new ones. I think Hungarian was the latest they added. But for me personally, the one I wanted to study was the foreign language that I had already, but I wanted to brush up on, which was Bulgarian. And for some reason, Bulgarian is not the most popular language to study. I can't think why. And they don't have a Bulgarian course. But you know what I did? I went online and I typed in free Bulgarian online, and it turns out somebody's made one. It's called Bulgaro, and it's based on the Duolingo concept. It's very much like doing Duolingo. And so what I'm saying is, if you have done Duolingo and you get the way they work, and you want to study a lesser known language that's not on Duolingo, there's a good chance there will be something online. And often, if my message from this is, if you can't find it in one place, look elsewhere. There's so much stuff online. Of course, with it not being the Duolingo brand, you don't have that guarantee of quality that I think Duolingo does provide. Although the Bulgaro one is very good. I'm quite impressed with it. So that's Duolingo. Again, if you've got any experiences, put them in the chat, because I think it'd be great to hear about them. I'm going to move on. OpenLearn is the Open University's free online learning site. Courses are mostly extracts from real OU courses. Now, what's this all about? So we actually had a presentation at the TUC a few years ago by the Open University, and it was the guy in charge of OpenLearn, and he explained the model, and it's part of their social contract where they basically providing free learning because they want to be nice. However, of course, they don't just want to be nice. What they also, the idea is that people do the free course, they like it, and then they sign up to an Open University course. And I have to say, for me personally, I first came across these when I was working on a project, did some of the courses, liked them, and I did some creative writing ones because that's my hobby. And then I ended up signing up for an MA in creative writing with the Open University. So I think as a model, it works. It does lead you on to greater things if that's what you're interested in. But of course, you don't have to do that. You can just use these OpenLearn courses to just dip your toe in something. They're all free, and they're good quality, because at the end of the day, it's a university that's running them, and most of them are actually parts of a larger course. Not all. They all were at the beginning, and now there's some that aren't. But it's a university, so you've got that guarantee of quality. So the courses are high standard. They contain interactive elements like videos. And what I really like about OpenLearn is when you complete the course, you can print off a free quality certificate with the Open University logo on it. And it's not an accredited course, right? But it looks like it is. And if you want to show your employer that you've been doing some learning, you've got a very professional looking certificate with Open University written all over it. That's as good as you're going to get for free, I think. And they are constantly adding new courses. So that's what's good about OpenLearn. Bad, If you're into the basic stuff, it doesn't exist so much, really. There has been a bit added more recently, but it's a university, so most of the stuff is university level, and there's a good range, but it doesn't cover anything. And some of the courses can be a bit specific, and that's because, like I said earlier, they what they do is they take a chunk of a bigger course. So, for example, they might have like a bachelor's in psychology, and they might take like one module about criminal psychology, and then that's what they present as a separate course on here, which is great if you then go on to do the bachelor's degree in psychology, because you're kind of already familiar with part of it. But what that means is some of the courses are a bit niche, and of course they're not accredited. Now, one thing that I should mention here, and I should have probably mentioned it at the very beginning, but if you're quite new to this and you're not used to looking for courses online, or if you're a union learning rep and you're trying to promote this to people who are not that confident with their digital skills, what we did when I worked with Union Learn, myself and my former colleague Adrian Ryan, we did a series of kind of walkthrough tutorial videos that are on the Union Learn YouTube channel. So Yusuf can post the links in. But basically, what that video is, it's not the most exciting video you'll ever watch, but it's myself and Adrian going on the site, a bit like gamer channels where they talk you through a game. Well, we're talking you through the learning. So we're showing you how to sign up for a course, how to choose a course, how to navigate the courses. So again, if you're supporting people who are not that confident with the digital skills, or if you yourself just want a bit of an extra help with it, check out those videos, watch them, make a few notes, and then have a go yourself. There is an open learn one. There was a Duolingo one at Khan Academy. I think all of it we do, and there are others that we do as well, and they're all on that Union Learn YouTube channel. Futurelearn. Okay, this one is one of my two joint favourites, and I am a bit of a Futurelearn addict, I have to say, so I'm biased here. Futurelearn is also run by the Open University, but as I put there, it's in partnership with other universities and other academic institutions from around the world. So, for example, you can learn about Korea from Korean experts. So the difference is OpenLearn is owned and run entirely by Open University, right? Futurelearn, they own and run the platform, but they invite all these partners in to do the courses. So I've done so many Futurelearn courses. I love them. I think they're great. I think their website is so easy to navigate. I think it's so clear, and the quality of the courses is really up there. Like the videos, the discussion boards are really active. It's great. And so, what kind of stuff can you do? Well, you could learn about Korea from, do a course in the Korean language from a university in Korea. I did a big course on mindfulness. Just trying to think, demystifying mindfulness, it was called, and that was run by Leiden University in the Netherlands, which is a bit of a world leader in that kind of stuff. But then some of them aren't done by university. So I did a course on Taoism that was run by the Tao Institute in China. And I did a course on anti-Semitism run by the Holocaust memorial place, Yad Vashem, in Israel. So they've really got this wide variety of experts coming in, and that's great. I said the high standard. I think these are the best courses on the internet that are free, personally. They are always adding new courses, particularly during the lockdown. They added loads. And what is nice, you get support from real tutors. So what I mean by that is that in the chat boxes, these are monitored by the tutors. And so there are tutors, proper like professors and that, assigned from the university, and they contribute to the chat. So you get good quality discussion. Now, I'm going to talk about paying, which sounds a bit strange during a website on free stuff. But you are constantly reminded by Futurelearn that you can pay for the course, and then you think, well, why would I pay for a course if it's available for free? And it may be worth you doing, and I think it's because what you get if you pay for the course, there's two advantages. One, you get a certificate, which is high quality, and some of the courses, not many, but a few of them are also accredited as well by universities. So you get this certificate, so you can prove you've done it. And who doesn't like a little certificate to put on the wall? But the other reason why you might want to pay for it is if you're particularly interested in the subject, then the courses, unlike the Open University ones, which you can join whenever and finish whenever, there's no time frame to it. The Futurelearn ones, they have join dates. So, it might start on the 1st of April and it runs for like 3 weeks or something. And if you pay, you have access to the course materials after the course is finished. If you don't pay, you don't. You've got to wait till it comes around again, kind of thing, and sign up again. Now, why would you pay and why wouldn't you? Well, to me, the obvious one is if you're doing a course for a work purpose. So say, for example, I did that mindfulness course because I was running mindfulness webinars and doing stuff on mental health in the workplace. It was worth my while getting a certificate to show to my boss and to the people attending my webinars that, you know what, I've actually studied this stuff. I actually have a degree of legitimacy to talk to you about it. And so for that, it's worth having a certificate. Conversely, I did a course on where I think it was University of Reading, and they'd made this like 3D model of the ancient city of Rome. And they take you around this 3D model and talk about what Rome was like at its height. And I did that course because we were going to Rome on holiday, and I wanted to understand a bit of what I was seeing. And it really worked because, we'd be walking down a street in Rome and see this whole ruin. I'm like, now that is the Temple of Diana, and it was built at this time, and that was really cool. But do I need a certificate? No, it was just to kind of help me on my holiday. So, I think it's really why you're studying and how much do you like collecting certificates. That said, the courses, if you pay, I think they're about between 40 and about 80 quid, depending on how long the course is. But you can buy like a package that is, I think it was £200 per annum, and that lets you do all the courses and get certificates for all of them. And so, if you're doing, even one a month, then you've got 12 courses for 200 quid. That's not bad value, actually. When you think, how much is a coffee these days, and you're getting a course for less than 20 quid, I don't think it's bad value at all. But yeah, that's Futurelearn. Again, any experience with it? Any questions? Pop it in the chat.
Matt?
Yeah.
There's a question from Hillary, where she says she used to enjoy Futurelearn courses, but those that were free are now being charged for. Do you think this is a permanent change and a sign of the future?
Good question. I noticed that Futurelearn changed. There's more like accredited stuff coming on during the lockdown. I think it might be a sign of the future. I hope that's not true. But at the end of the day, I guess this is a commercial undertaking. It's not like the OpenLearn one where it's to get you onto Open University courses. Although the universities do all advertise their services on them, so that's partly the raison d'etre behind it. But I think it seems to be in certain areas, like when it's like stuff to do with business and or specific computer type skills, they seem to be more inclined to charge. Whereas when it's like the ancient Rome stuff, they ain't charging for that, and I don't think people would pay it either. So I do think it's a direction of travel. I hope I'm wrong. I find it disappointing, but probably understandable. I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think as much as you can. I've got one more question on Futurelearn from Helen Stokes, where she says, for Futurelearn, can a branch pay and give access to learners, or is it an individual cost?
My understanding, because I had a chat with Futurelearn during the first lockdown, is a branch could, because I said, well, could Learn do a deal with them, and could we offer that, a reduced rate to our members? And they were all up for it, and there was several packages that they talked about. In the end, it never happened because Learn was government money, and we weren't meant to be spending it on that. But if it's your branch funds and you don't have that restriction, which branches do not these days, because the government doesn't give us any money anyway, then yeah, why not? Why not? They do have a number of packages, or they did when I spoke to them, and one was about you buy about 20 annual passes at a reduced rate, or one was you buy a bundle of courses and that. So I think it's about talking to them. But I have a contact. I mean, if that's something that a particular branch is interested in, what I could do is pass you on to the lady that I dealt with at Futurelearn. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, and I will copy and paste your email address in the chat again as well, Matt.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, I'm going to move on. Coursera. Coursera is basically the same as Futurelearn, except that Futurelearn is the British version and Coursera is American. So it's high quality courses from revered academic institutions worldwide. Okay, so if you get what Futurelearn's about, you get what Coursera's about. That said, there are differences. Looking at the advantages, they are the same as Futurelearn because the concept's the same, except unlike Futurelearn, the start dates, you can start whenever on them, right? Of course, the disadvantage of starting whenever is you don't get that tutor support that you get on Futurelearn. So, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. Like, it's nice to be able to study whenever you want, but the tutor support's there, and also I think the student interaction is nowhere near what it is on Futurelearn, probably because of the set dates, but also I think the way the discussion forums on Futurelearn are set up at the end of each page that you study, whereas on Coursera you have to go to a separate area of the website. I don't like the Coursera website as much to study on as the Futurelearn one. It's not as colourful, it's not as easy to navigate, but it's still good. I'm actually, I had an annual pass for Futurelearn last year. This year I've got a Coursera one. Coursera has a much bigger range of courses than Futurelearn. It's like about 4 times bigger, I would estimate. So if you like the range of courses, it's there. They also, Futurelearn do a lot of 2 or 3 week courses, whereas the Coursera ones, they seem to be 5 weeks minimum and going on to about 8 weeks. So, Coursera ones perhaps a bit longer. You sometimes get the same courses appearing on both. So that demystifying mindfulness you could do on Coursera or on Futurelearn. You can do it on either. And again, you pay for the certificates. They're good quality. They're nice. And one thing, if you do pay, you can go for an honours status where it says you attained it with honours, but they're not actually accredited, so it doesn't mean much. It just means if it's something you're really into, you can study in a bit more depth. Again, as with all these university ones, very few basic stuff. The range is good and doesn't cover everything. These days it almost does, though, although some of the courses can be a bit specific. So, for example, I wanted to do stuff on Buddhism. There was no basic Buddhism course, but there was a Buddhism and modern psychology course. Free for a limited time. For permanent access, you have to pay, which is the same with Futurelearn. So that's Coursera. At the moment, they are my favourite because I've got the pass with them. But the range is incredible. I mean, there's some fantastic courses on there. So big thumbs up for me. What's happened there? Right, I don't know. On current slide, I don't know what I did there. Right, okay. So that's that one. Right, GCF Global. This is one that we were told about by one of our projects, the Aegis the union, they're a banking union up in Yorkshire. They told us about that they use it a lot. So I had to play with it. It's run by the Goodwill Foundation, which is a charity. Check them out. They're an American charity, and so I contacted some friends in America. I said, "Are these like, are these an ethical charity? They're a bit dodgy kind of thing." And no, they're really ethical, and apparently they run charity shops all over the USA. They're very big there, and it's dozens of free self-paced tutorials and technology stuff, work and career, reading, math. You can tell it's America, and everyday life. It used to be called GCF Learn Free. Again, a bit like Khan Academy for me, this one. And we have got a video with Mary O'Brien, who used to work on the Ages Project. So it's myself, Adrian, and Mary O'Brien on that video where she talks us through it. Again, high standard, really good. Really good if you're a beginner. And about like those kind of things associated with work, like using Microsoft Office and some maths and all that kind of stuff. Again, not accredited, but you can track your learning history. It's American, so there's spelling and vocabulary differences, and the range of courses is good, but does not cover everything. Again, a bit weaker on the humanities. So that's GCF Global. I have used them, but I haven't used them hugely, so I'm not a big expert on these, but you can check out our video anyway. Alison. Now, Alison is the largest provider of free online learning. So if you had a learning project before, you probably come across them because our projects tended to signpost to them a lot. And that's because whatever you wanted to study, it was there on Alison. Right? Alison has the biggest range. Now, I think they're an Irish-based provider, but they were aiming at the American market, and that was problematic at times. Alison, although it's big and they're not that bad, they're not my favorite by a mile. I'll be honest with you, I have certain issues with Alison. So the range is unbelievable, and they will offer it. And when you complete a course, if you want the certificate, you can pay for one. Right, the problems. When I did Alison courses, I found typos and errors in them. The quality isn't what it is with other providers. Even some of the stuff they do with, like other institutions after the Futurelearn or Openlearn model, the other institutions aren't as respected, shall we say. So it's not Yale University, but it's one you've never heard of somewhere. It's not a British provider. They're actually registered in Ireland, but they use American law and terminology. So, if you decide you're a health and safety rep and you want to up your knowledge on health and safety law, don't do it in Alison because it'll be totally irrelevant, So a history course, that's fine because, Byzantine history is the same anywhere in the world. But, law is not. And they don't always make that clear. So you think you're learning stuff and it's irrelevant unless you're in America. The courses are not accredited. Another issue is not on here is that there's loads of adverts on them, and sometimes the adverts look like they're part of the course. So you press on them, and they, you leave the course and you go on to the advert, which is a pain. You have to pay for the certificate. That we had issues with some people on certain browsers not being able to do Alison stuff. I believe that was fixed, but it may not be so. But again, the range is good, and I probably make them sound worse than they are. But for me, if it's on Futurelearn, Openlearn, or Coursera, do it there instead. National Numeracy Challenge is all about maths and making accessible. It's I think the government-backed initiative. This one, it's nice because it has the initial assessment, and of course, remember I talked about the levels earlier. The level 1, level 2. It will give you, your assessment will give you your level in the British system, which is what employers and colleges understand. So if you want an initial assessment, this is a really good place to go. It's not accredited, but it is by a recognised agency using our recognised, level system. So at the end of the day, it will, in that respect, it carries a bit more weight. Because assess your math skills before you start and then learn what you need to, and you can print off a free certificate, and it's especially designed for those people who find maths a bit daunting, like the problem. Is there any maths? So if you want anything else, don't go there. and the courses are not accredited, as I said earlier. And that is that. So that's the end of the main sites that I talk about. I'm going to stop sharing the screen in a second. But just to say that they aren't the only sites on there. There are loads of other free learning sites if you take the time to search for them, like I did with my Bulgarian language learning site. There are also a load of sites that you can pay for, and some of them it's worth going on. So there's Udemy, which is Udemy. That's all like digital skill stuff. So if you want to do stuff around programming or certain graphics programs and that, you might want to go on Udemy. And we do have a video about that myself and Adrian did with a gentleman called Neil Sieperjack, who's like a computer guru at PCS. So, if you're interested in those kind of IT-based stuff, watch that video because that kind of goes in there, but they're mostly paid-for options. And of course, the TUC has its own sites. Now, I've put the UnionLearn site up there. Contrary to what some people might think, UnionLearn hasn't died. UnionLearn is still with us. Yes, the Union Learning Fund money is gone, but we still have the website with all the resources. And we've got, stuff like Value My Skills, which is a tool that I use all the time. I think it's great. And then there's Skill Check on there and that kind of stuff. And there's also TUC Education site, which is separate from UnionLearn. And TUC Education, as you're probably aware, is all about educating reps. So you've got the e-notes on there, which is stuff pertaining to reps, like, what is a ULR, cancer in the workplace, that kind of stuff. But some of them, I think, are good for the wider public as well. So the Read Now and the Write Now ones, they're really good with members because they're just about basic maths and English. And then the Learning at Home site, this was something that was developed during the lockdown where we put on learning resources. Now, I'm not an expert on these, so I'm going to stop my screen share. But while I am, Yusuf, do you have anything to say about the resources that we have and maybe some I haven't mentioned?
Well, in terms of just a quick update for people, obviously, I know UnionLearn's been a bit quiet. It was very unfortunate, obviously, to lose the amount of staff members that we had, and we are kind of down to just myself, really. So the website itself has been having a lot of revamping done in the background. We were supposed to kind of, if you want to call it, relaunch the site in October, but there was a bit of a delay with the technical side of things. So I've just had an email this morning to say we're not that far off now. So what we will be doing is sort of relaunching the site. Unfortunately, that does mean we've taken certain elements of the certain content of the site off just because the capacity isn't there to kind of keep it all updated, but all the important stuff like the resources and the publications will still be there. And what we really want to encourage people viewing today is any case studies that are possibly in the making. If you can send them across to me or Matt, we'll be happy to get them on the site. Anything which is newsworthy, which you want us to possibly put up on the news part of the site, please do so. Once the site is up and sort of running properly again, I will be sending out some stuff via social media as well and our email alerts to try and encourage people to sort of send us case studies. And also, if anybody's possibly interested in writing some blogs for us as well, that would be brilliant. And I guess just another plug really for the UnionLearn conference, which is on the 15th of February. The information is on the UnionLearn site under the events page, so you can go and register. And I will kind of keep posting updates in terms of potential speakers that we've got once I've kind of got people sorted out on that aspect.
Okay, thanks, Yusuf. I've been looking through some of these comments. Okay, it's a pain, isn't it, this crowdcast, because you don't have that interaction that you would have on a Zoom call, but because there's too many people for that, I guess. So let me have a look. Kate Latimer says, it sounds great. Shame it can't be national. I assume you're talking about the Combined Authority initiative. We do have another similar one in the Sheffield City region. I don't know if Janet can be with us today, but she's basically the me for the Sheffield City region. So if there's anybody in, I'm not quite sure what it covers. I guess it's Barnsley and Doncaster and Rotherham and Sheffield.
Again, speaking to Janet a couple of days ago, there will be an email alert going out to people based within the Yorkshire region, kind of letting people know what areas she actually can cover, what her remit is, and with her contact details as well. So that will be going out next week for people.
Brilliant. But again, if you feel you might not be on the Yorkshire number to use his mailing list and you want to hear from Janet, let myself or Yusuf know, and then we can talk about that. We are hoping to get a similar worker in the Leeds City region. That should be quite soon. North Tyne, and then down the track, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Southwest, and Cambridge and Peterborough. So they are all the MCAs. So yeah, there's that. What else have I got? There was 2 people from GFTU here. So yeah, our comrades from GFTU are present. Nice that you could join us. And they said live in Peterborough, work in Quorn, happy to discuss stuff. So some of your unions, not all of them, are also affiliated to GFTU, and they've got a place, Quorn. It's like near Leicester. It's a nice hotel. So if you're interested in what they can do. There's Ian and Mark here today. Usdaw do ranks. I didn't know Usdaw did ranks. I knew TCS and I think Unison did, but I didn't know Usdaw did. So, okay, that's great. And great that it's still there. So, fantastic. A little bit of a shout out for me. If we do have anyone from Usdaw in the Midlands, let me know, because since your project team's gone, I'm a bit of a loss as to who to contact in the Midlands, and I really want to do more with Usdaw. So that's that. Liz, Workplace Learning Advocates, also running a B&B. Well, that sounds nice. Yeah, well, please do share it with hospitality people in Cumbria. Steve loves Futurelearn, as do I. Right, what else? There's loads of links. I don't know. Is there anything else in there? And any questions? Because I finished, a few minutes early, because normally people do have questions.
So Matt, you've got the ask question thing along the bottom.
Right.
I've answered some of the questions that came in, which I kind of presented to you during the session. They've obviously been answered already. There's just 2 left in there, which are more kind of comments. There's one about Duolingo, which you might want to comment on.
Right. Yeah, Mondly. I've not heard of Mondly before. So Martin Whittle has put, absolutely agree about Duolingo. Excellent range of languages. Definitely more children orientated than Mondly. Personally prefer Mondly as a higher level A-level than Duolingo beginner GCSE, but equally as good. Duolingo also offers Welsh, whereas Mondly doesn't yet. I've never been on Mondly. This is the first time I've heard that. So that's really interesting. I mean, I guess, Martin, is Mondly free? Is the big question. Because what I might do when I've done my Spanish on Duolingo, which at current rate will be about 2 years' time, I might have a go at having a go on Mondly with it. But yeah, that sounds really good. All this information is great. I'm going to have to share it with my branch as a ULR. Well, that's what we want people to do. And but as you said, then let us know what's happening, because when we had the project teams, we knew a lot more what was happening, and we want to share what you're doing. We want to promote it. I think the great thing about the TUC is if one union's doing something great, rather than just that union knowing about it, we can share it across the whole movement. We're comrades in a whole movement here.
Yeah, it's about sharing the best practice as well. So
yeah. And you can learn off another union, back. Okay, Helen Stokes clicked on site for Futurelearn and top cash back offers up to 44% back. All right, so yeah, that suggests that if I'm reading that right, that suggests that
there's scope there to get some kind of discount. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then Martin has now put yes, free, but like Duolingo, limits to a few languages at a time. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, and this is an important point. So I was doing my Spanish, and I was doing it because I was doing this walk across Spain, and there was a lot of French people doing the same walk. And I thought, I could brush up on my French at the same time, because I was struggling to talk to them. And actually, trying to study French and Spanish at the same time was not a good idea because they're similar languages and you mix them up. Now, at the moment, I am studying Bulgarian and Spanish at the same time, and it's not a problem because they're different enough for me to not mix them up. So do beware of that. If you want to study 3 or 4 languages, I wouldn't look. I don't think it's good practice to study like Italian, Spanish, French at the same time, or German and Dutch, for example, languages that are very close to each other, because you do jumble them up. And I spoke to language experts, and they've said, no, we don't recommend this. So anyone interested in learning Welsh, the Learn Welsh website offers free gov.courses. Okay, so Martin's the language expert, it seems here. Yeah, I've always fancied Welsh, actually. So yeah, and Steve's put Slavic v Latin languages. Yeah, so yeah, I mean Bulgarian, I think is different enough. Although there is a little bit of crossover from time to time. The Bulgarian one, I'll put it in. Not that I think anybody is really that enthusiastic about Bulgarian, but it's just an example of one of these kind of Duolingo knockoff sites for the languages that aren't covered. If you fancy Armenian or Georgian or something like that. So yeah, that's that. I'm just trying to think. Not free, but Wolf can offer funding if you live and work in Wales. Okay, say something in the Welsh app. So okay, there's Bulgarian on Mondly. Oh, do you know what? I'm really going to have to look at this Monday. I tell you what I'm going to talk to you about as well, because we've got a couple of minutes, and do put any more comments in. But there's something called italki that a friend of mine recommended. So this is one of the guys I've seen this walk with, and he was doing French on italki, and I said, well, I never even heard of italki. And italki, and I think there was others that are similar. That's different than Duolingo, where you pay, but you pay for a tutor, and you have basically a Zoom meeting with the tutor. That's what it is. So it looks very much like your screen will do now with myself and Yusuf on there. So I pay for a community tutor, which is more where you're having a chat rather than it's so structured. And I pay. There's a lady in Bulgaria. I pay I think it's about £9 an hour, and I have an hour of Bulgarian tuition with a qualified and experienced tutor, and that's really good because the problem with the Duolingo approach is it's not very good for practicing your speaking and listening. It's really good for your grammar and your vocabulary and all that. And I actually would recommend doing both. Like having one lesson a week to get your speaking up to scratch and your listening skills, but then doing the Duolingo or the Mondly or whatever other platform for the other stuff. And italki, they do offers whereby if you bring someone into italki, they'll give you some free lessons and that kind of stuff. It's charged in dollars, so my lessons have gradually got more expensive as the pound has slipped down against the dollar. But they're about like $8.70 a few weeks back, and now they're over £9. But yeah. But Dr. Lynn Barham, Mondly, I'm so going to check out Bulgarian on Mondly. The moment I have finished my Bulgaro course, which is a more basic one, I am on to Mondly, let me tell you. Now, we have 2 minutes left. So, do we have any more questions or comments? Did you like this website? I tell you what, if you have any ideas for future webinars as well, do let us know. Because we're having one a month, we can make them more regular. That's not a problem. But we need to know what people want. We try and listen to members, but we can only listen to you when you tell us stuff. So yeah, if you've got any idea for future webinars.
And yep, just to say that this webinar, once it's finished, it takes a little bit of time to process, but once it has been processed, it will go up on the YouTube Unionlearn YouTube channel. And what I will do is all the courses that all the websites that Matt's talked about today, I'll put them in the description as actual links. And Matt, are you again happy to for me to put the PowerPoint up as well so people can download that and use it?
I certainly am. Are you going to put that on the YouTube channel then?
Yeah, I can put that up as a downloadable link as well for people to use.
I can tell the people who've asked for it to be recorded.
Yep.
So that's it. Well, then let us conclude. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see so many people here, and it's great to know that unions involved in learning, and even the government can't stop us doing that. Yeah, keep up the good fight.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Hope to see
Appreciate
you
it.
again.
Thanks all.